Hello everyone, my name is Melanie Robinson and this is my sugar project. I will start out by talking about the movie. I enjoyed watching this because it showed a lot of insight into overeating and how it's influenced in American culture. I found that the best part was the interviews of people struggling with their weight. It explained to me how obesity in America is caused by many different factors. I have witnessed it to be because of poverty, habit, or lack of knowledge on nutrition. The interviews featured in the documentary reflect these problems. The interview with the 12-year-old girl was especially meaningful to me. Children grow up around parents who either don't value nutrition or can't afford to buy healthier foods. The movie also shows how schools are partly responsible for overweight children. This can lead to weight problems into adulthood. I believe this is one of the biggest reasons for the obesity epidemic we are facing. I also liked how this movie talked about diets. Diet culture is another factor in the obesity crisis, and it needs to be addressed. Although most people have tried to diet, 2/3 of Americans are still overweight. I see this as a problem with how society views food. It is also hard to stop overeating when you form a habit of it, and many people give up on diets because they are too restrictive. This is why I think that the way people look at diets is causing more harm than good. Losing weight should always have health in mind first, instead of being drastic and unsustainable. This would possibly prevent more people giving up on their health. Lastly, I would like to share my complaint about the movie. I felt like sometimes it victimized overweight people, and while the obesity crisis has many factors, I think there is still room for people to take responsibility for their health. The government and food manufacturers aren't always going to look after our health, so we must be knowledgeable and resourceful. Next is my food diet experience. I thought this was a good challenge because I personally eat too much sugar. My main problem is because of my love for candy, soda, and Nutella. I like to think this is a minimal problem in my diet, but after reviewing the research for this project, it's made me change my mind. Eating sugar is probably the worst thing that I do for my body. Although I eat a lot of sugar, I do not think that it's worse than the average American. For this project, I only removed one item per day. I did this because I eat too much sugar, and attempting to cut it out completely would be hard. I usually avoid sugar in the morning, but I crave sugary snacks at night, putting me over my recommended sugar intake. I was able to get through the week successfully, and it was not too bad. I got through the first few days with minimal cravings, but they eventually went away. The end of the week was the worst because I started getting headaches. I also found that I lacked energy and motivation to do work. By the last day, I felt fine, but that might have been because I had more sugar than the beginning of the week. I liked this project even though the side effects were slightly annoying. It has made me think more about eating sugar and how it affects my body. So next, I will do my presentation. I want to first start out by reading this quote. More than 1/3 of adults and 17% of youth are obese in the United States, and in 2008, the estimated annual medical cost of obesity was $147 billion. This is considered one of the biggest health crises of modern times. Diet is an important topic when trying to figure out the cause of this problem. Sugar is one of the things being blamed right now. Refined sugar has only recently become an addition to human diet. Although these energy-rich sweeteners have been blamed for illnesses, sugar, including high fructose corn syrup, is recognized as safe for use as a preservative and sweetener. Is overconsumption of sugar linked to obesity and diseases such as Alzheimer's? This presentation will explore the evidence regarding these claims. Okay, so what is sugar? Sugar can be extracted from a variety of sources. It is generally made from sugarcane, sugar beets, or corn. Extracting sugar from corn is done to save money and supply the huge demand. The traditional way of making sugar involves sugarcane and sugar beets. This process creates sucrose, which is the same as table sugar. Corn is used to produce high fructose corn syrup that contains varying ratios of fructose and glucose. Table sugar is a different compound than what is found in high fructose corn syrup. Fructose found in high fructose corn syrup must be converted in the liver to glycogen, lactate, glucose, and triglycerides, at which point the glucose triggers insulin release. No matter the source, sugar molecules are a rapid source of energy. Sugar has not always been as popular as it is today. Europeans were not introduced to sugar until the Crusades in the 11th century. The Europeans enjoyed this new spice and began trading it. The first known use was recorded in England just under 1,000 years ago. Buying sugar at this time was expensive and considered a luxury. Added sugars are so common now that it's sometimes seen unavoidable. So why is sugar in everything? It is estimated that 75% of packaged foods have added sugar. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 38 grams of added sugar per day, but the average American consumes 3 to 6 times more than that amount. Sugar has become a common ingredient because of the demand and financial incentive. Foods and drinks with higher sugar content are popular, especially in Western diets. Manufacturers of these products take advantage of the demand and use sugar for its valuable properties. High fructose corn syrup is a cheaper alternative to table sugar and other preservatives that are needed to maintain shelf life. High fructose corn syrup can be found hidden in the majority of sugary processed foods. Science has proven that sugar is detrimental to health. The effects of added sugar intake are higher blood pressure, inflammation, weight gain, diabetes, fatty liver disease are all linked to an increased risk for heart attack and stroke. Other risks included metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular disease, some cancers, Alzheimer's disease, and cellular aging. Some people think that calories from sugar add fat differently than non-sugar calories. Sugars and Obesity. Visit the sugars or the calories featured in the Nutrition Bulletin sought to find out if this is true. Featured was a study from Harvard that collected the weights over a 4-year period from 2 different groups. The groups consisted of people who drank high-sugar beverages and people who had generally unhealthy diets. The study found that the unhealthy diet group had more weight gain when compared to the soda group. This debunked the idea that calories from sugar contribute to more weight gain than other calories. Sugar is only responsible for obesity because of how easy it is to overconsume. My project focused on sugar and Alzheimer's. Science has found strong correlations, but there is still debate as to whether or not sugar is the main culprit. The correlation found with Alzheimer's was investigated by Sugar and Alzheimer's Disease, A Bittersweet Truth, published by Nature Neuroscience. The article explains the effect of sugar on the blood-brain barrier. Normal amounts of glucose are necessary for producing ATP to the brain. The endothelial cells lining cerebral blood vessels in the blood-brain barrier are solely responsible for transportation of glucose. Transporter proteins are used to bypass the blood-brain barrier, which is necessary to deliver glucose to the brain. It has been found that deterioration of the blood-brain barrier has led to the majority of Alzheimer's cases. Lab rats were used to determine the cause of blood-brain barrier deterioration. Rats with the transporter gene were compared against the ones that didn't have it. The study was very useful at finding the correlation between blood-brain barrier deterioration and Alzheimer's. This study did not directly find sugar responsible for Alzheimer's, but the findings showed a strong correlation. It can be assumed that glucose overconsumption is a contributing factor in the overload of transport proteins. And this is just the finding from the results and how it affected the brain. Science has demonstrated that eating too much sugar is harmful to health, but it cannot take full responsibility. Obesity and health issues being faced today are a side effect of the food problem happening in America. The research has demonstrated how overconsumption of sugar specifically causes diseases such as obesity and Alzheimer's. Sugar is proven to be safe for the body when consumed in recommended amounts. The problem with sugar isn't the substance itself. The problem has to do with how addictive it is. This creates a demand that food producers profit from. Less healthy food is made today because of society's demand for quick and easy processed foods. This convenience has influenced generations of Americans to not value their health. Education and more food regulations could hopefully improve this health crisis.